welcome back to my channel and to this video, which is my Rebel makeup purchases. These are things that YouTube told me not to buy. These are things that by the time I came on the YouTube and makeup scene, people were over. And I bought them anyways, and I have no regrets. So if that sounds like fun to you, let's get into it. So this is actually kind of a palette version of this, and I will start with the non-eyeshadow palette. So this is something that I hear all the time on YouTube. Don't buy it, you will regret it. It is not the same formula as the originals, and that is the Benefit Blush Bar palettes. This is the newest one from Benefit, and I have had it for a little while now. Sweet story, my hubby actually picked it out because he is a deal chaser in every sense of the word, and when he saw that this was like an $150 value for $68, he asked me if I wanted it, and I could not say no. You did get the little brush in here, as well as 5 pans of Benefit products. We've got Dandelion, we've got the new blush Gold Rush, and here is Rockateur, a very favorite classic, the Hoola bronzer, as well as California. This is absolutely, and I have talked to other people whom I've seen on Instagram and other places that have pictured having this one. They have said that they agree that this is the same formula as the boxed blushes, and it absolutely is. I have no regrets about getting this. I think I'm going to get a lot of use out of it. I have tried Benefit blushes before, and I do like the formula when they're dark enough for me. So this is something that I bought as a Rebel, and I have no regrets. Let's get into the eyeshadow palettes, starting with the very first high-end palette that I ever bought, and that was the Too Faced Sweet Peach palette. I know a lot of people, this sold out like right after the release and blah de blah, but by the time that I came onto the makeup scene, people were over peaches. They were saying, you know, I don't want makeup that smells good, or this is not really a peach palette because there's only a few peach shades in here, and the list goes on. But I like to buy eyeshadow that I'm inspired by, if that makes sense. And when I looked at this palette, I immediately was, you know, drawn to it. I thought at this point I had never had anything more than a quad from the drugstore. Just all the color choices in here I thought were fantastic. I was definitely drawn not only to the peaches, but to this green shade here, which is called Bless Her Heart. And you guys know I have a real passion for green eyeshadow now. And this is kind of all where it started because I love that shade. But the formula is impeccable. It does smell really good to me. I really like it, and I have no regrets about purchasing this. Yes, there's a lot of neutrals in here, but for me that makes it really easy to reach for. If I'm going to travel, this is one that I will bring with me because I can go from day to night very easily with this palette. And I have no regrets about buying it. I'm glad I have it in my collection. I do reach for it, and it is a nice color story for me and my skin tone any time of year, to be honest. So I have no regrets, and I love this one. Sometime very soon after purchasing the Too Faced Sweet Peach palette, this was another palette that I decided to purchase. This again was a palette that was very popular upon its original release, but I did not come onto the YouTube scene and start my journey in beauty until sometime down the road. By the time I was watching YouTube and thinking about starting my channel, this palette, people were just ripping it to shreds essentially, and that is the Jaclyn Hill Morphe palette. So I do have the new packaging with the shade names on the back, which would have bothered me had I not had that, as well as this is the shiny slick packaging that is easy to wipe off, whereas the original packaging was matte. And here she is. Everybody has seen this. A lot of people have this, and I have no regrets about buying this one. I really like this palette. I know a lot of people say, you know, it's mostly a neutral palette with a few pops of color, and that's probably true, but I still haven't run out of looks that I can make with this palette. It's a great palette for me for traveling because I could take this somewhere for a month and come up with looks until the end of time. I just really like the versatility of this palette. I like that it has different finishes. I like that it has light colors as well as darker colors. There's just nothing I don't like about this palette other than I don't get enough chances to use it. I was a fan of Jaclyn's when I purchased this, but that was not the reason that I purchased this. I liked her, but I wouldn't buy something I didn't want just to support somebody. I really liked the looks that I saw people doing with this palette. And like I said, I like to buy eyeshadow palettes when I feel inspired by them, and I certainly did buy this one. And I feel like I always come out with a very inspired look when I use it. So I have no regrets about purchasing this palette at all. The last thing is the most recent Rebel makeup purchase that I have made, and that is the Anastasia Beverly Hills Soft Glam palette. I was immediately attracted to this. In fact, I knew I didn't need it, but I was still attracted to it. I just was so drawn to this palette and this color story. And of course, everybody on YouTube was saying that if you have the Modern Renaissance, that you do not need the Soft Glam. And that is probably true. Probably the shades, at least the matte shades that I was mostly attracted to in this palette, which was Orange Soda as well as Mulberry, I could have probably duped out of my collection, you know, in addition to the Modern Renaissance. But there are shades in here that I find are extremely unique compared to the Modern Renaissance, and that is all of the shimmers. Got a really soft gold here called Glistening, as well as this brighter gold, but it has a neat little shift to it, which is called Fairy. You've got Rose Pink, Sultry, and Bronze, which is actually a really bright gold if you ask me. But those three for sure, could not dupe those out of my collection, nor these two shimmers right here. These really are quite different if you look at them. I definitely feel like this leans a little bit more cool tone than this one does. And yes, there are a lot of neutral shadows in here, but I do use a lot of neutral shadows. And again, I like for traveling purposes when I can grab for 1 or 2 palettes and just take those with me and be able to get complete looks out of it, have something to set my primer, have transition shades, have, you know, neutral crease shades that I can then build a colorful look from. I have no regrets about having these. I have no regrets about any of my ABH palettes. I feel like since I've come on the YouTube makeup scene, a lot of people have really been trashing ABH shadows. Whoa, I don't know if that was the case when the Mario and ABH palette came on, but I have no regrets about any of these. I love all of these palettes, including the Subculture, and I reach for them all the time. I feel like they have, while not all of the shades are unique, it's very rare we get a palette that is all unique. So I really like these. I think it's nice because I can reach for 1 or 2 and have everything I need. Or, you know, I can really spread out in between the different palettes and create some really fun and interesting looks as well. So those are all of my Rebel makeup purchases. I thought this would be a fun video because it's kind of a rarity that when we hear negative things about something on YouTube, you're like, well, I'm gonna buy it anyway. I am frequently stopped by like, oh, I'm attracted to that palette, but then suddenly the reviews are coming out and people think it's crap. It's very rarely that I listen to my gut and buy it anyways because I'm attracted to it or because it inspires me. So I just wanted to share a few of those things with you today and also encourage you to do your own research. Try and dupe things out of your collection if you're worried that you're duplicating colors in your collection. Watch reviews, but make sure you watch both reviews where people like the product as well as reviews where people didn't like the product and listen to what they're talking about. Are they talking about a matter of preference? You know, a lot of people don't like the subculture or even ABH shadows altogether because they're so pigmented. They find them hard to blend. They, you know, just have trouble using them, and I think that's fine. But is that going to sway you from purchasing it? You know, so I hope that's all clear as mud because I'm confused, and I hope all of your makeup days are beautiful makeup days. We will see you in the next one. Bye.